And like for my wife, she has 3 iPhones and she's always constantly charging them, but she can never take advantage of any of the fast charging that we have in this house. Like I have 60-watt chargers that can charge my laptop and my phone at the same time to full battery in like an hour, and like she can't do that. But all the batteries used for her iPhones, I can charge with my USB-C cables and super fast. But Apple didn't create the standard, so they're not going to use it. So even if we do get USB-C, we're not going to get USB-C super speed and high speed. And like, if you want to transfer your photos, you need to do it to iCloud because God's going to take forever to transfer it to your laptop through a USB-C cable. Hello and welcome to the Vertical Bar Podcast. I'm your co-host, Your Name Here, from Orlando, Florida, and I'll be one of your guides as we explore the latest innovations, tech trends, and what's going on with the tech industry.
And I'm Marcus, your other co-host. Together, we're on a mission to explore, share, and demystify the world of technology.
From our own company, Vertical Bar Media, to the wider tech universe, we're here to delve into all things digital. But enough about us. What's on the topic list for today, Marcus?
Well, this week in tech, we have Microsoft is removing WordPad from Windows after nearly 30 years. That was reported by TheVerge. After that, we have Apple officially announcing its September event that it usually has every year. It looks like the new iPhone 15 should be coming out and a couple of other products. That was reported by 9to5 Mac. We also have, after that, Google announces a date for its upcoming Pixel 8 series event. We should also get a preview of the next Android release as well. That was reported by Android Authority.
And you said it's a date, but we don't. What's the date?
So the actual date, I think it's like October something. I think that's so funny. Yeah, I think it's like October 4th of this year. I don't know why I missed that part, but it's sometime in October.
We'll also be, I don't know why I keep on getting all the porn topics, but we'll be exploring the court ruling in Pornhub's favor, finding Texas age verification. The court rules in Pornhub's favor, finding Texas age verification laws violate First Amendment. So that's a really interesting turn of events there.
It's quite the headline.
We also get to see what's inside of McDonald's ice cream machine as from iFixit. So that's going to be a really, really exciting rights repair news there. And without forgetting to thank our AI overlords for scripting this intro, let's dive in. So what's going on with Microsoft removing WordPad?
Yeah, so it looks like on September the 1st, Microsoft announced online that WordPad would begin to see a decrease in attention, I guess, on Windows. Basically, they said that it's going to be completely removed by the next major release, and they're going to start to remove it from Windows 11. So I do know they're recommending that people move over to Microsoft Word or Notepad. What are your thoughts about WordPad being taken away?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird place that WordPad has always occupied.
It is.
Personally, Notepad has always been a go-to for me. A lot of programmers will use things like Notepad Plus because it does offer some more rich text environments. But usually I just love the Windows R, right? You type Windows R and then you just type in Notepad, and then like a notepad comes up on your desktop and you can start writing that quickly,
right?
As fast as you can type in those like 10 keys. So that's always been exciting for me. And as much as I use Notepad, which is actually considerably a lot, and I don't know if you've seen new updates to Notepad, but
yes,
I literally just did the Windows thing, Windows R and then Notepad. But it now has tabs, so you can have multiple notes with tabs at the top. And it's so simple, it's so basic, it's all you need. Like if you need to do something more than literally take notes on a notes, then use Word. But yeah, so that's kind of the interesting thing because WordPad has been a basic text editor, and it's rich documents, which for those of you that don't know, rich documents are documents that contain markup language. So things that the humans don't see, that the computers are able to see, like title headings and bullet points and things like this. Like those are actual things that the computer understands, and it just kind of interprets it for us and shows us in a different way. And Microsoft transitioned over to an XML in the late 2000 or the late 2010s. I don't really know how to say that, but like
yeah, right. Same here.
Around the 2010s, they switched over to .docx or docx, which is their XML file version, which is a lot more basically open source. It's very easy to access on multiple operating systems. And so for me, it's kind of weird because WordPad's only ever been like a free thing that you used if you didn't have access to Microsoft Word. Which
exactly.
Is almost kind of hard to do. Like you have to try not to be able to access Microsoft Word.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I think from before, Microsoft Word was basically it. I believe you had to pay for it under Office 365, but under this new Microsoft 365 subscription, I don't even think you have to pay for Word or PowerPoint or Excel anymore. I think they're all free as long as you make a Microsoft account and access them online through the Progressive Web app. So it's like, it's like now they put all this time and effort into Microsoft Word. Now that it runs smoother, it's been upgraded. It's always had all the features of WordPad, but now it's just easier to access. So there's really no need for WordPad. In fact, I even forgot that WordPad was even a thing until I read this article because
I guarantee you that's why it's being discontinued, because it makes sense to have a rich text editor, but
exactly,
it's not where it needs to be as like an independent text editor, right? Like something like Notepad++, like those have so many tools built into it. You know, even for like programmers to be able to access notebooks and to be able to do like some kind of formatting and other things like this. Like, I mean, using Notepad for that kind of stuff is like you might as well be chiseling it in stone, kind of.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, of course. And I do know when Windows 11 got released and updated, I do know that Notepad was a focus, not WordPad, but Notepad. And I do remember that it more fonts became accessible and viewable, and also, like you said earlier, tabs got introduced, and like all of a sudden, Notepad got cool again with Windows 11. So it's like now that it has all the features of WordPad, now that it has tabs, now that it pulls up quicker, and it just has an updated UI. I just feel like there's no place for WordPad anymore. So it was always okay. So I feel like WordPad was always like the pre-version of Word. It was just like Word, just it didn't have the ribbon and all those extra Office options. But now there's just no place for it. So I'm sad to see it go, but there really is no place for it. So fuck it.
How much longer do you think Paint's gonna live?
What's up?
How much longer do you think MS Paint is gonna live?
Oh, well, because Paint is, I think when Windows 10 came out, excuse me, we got 3D Paint. 3D Paint is actually kind of cool. I actually like it. I don't even know if the original version of Paint is still on Windows machines. Is it?
Yeah, I'm running Windows 11 and I typed in MS Paint and it comes up.
Oh, seriously? I didn't even know that. Yeah. I guess that should probably be next, because it seems like because Microsoft has like changed their user interface, they changed their design and all, and it seems like they're trying to simplify their software ecosystem. They're probably going to start getting rid of all these programs that are essentially useless nowadays, because I don't know why anybody would need Paint anymore when you have not only 3D Paint, but a lot of these graphic editing tools online are just easier to use and they look better. They do all the simple shit that Paint does for people. So yeah, I'd probably give that until Windows 12 as well.
I think one of the biggest nails in the coffin for MS Paint is Windows Snap. or the
Oh
window
yeah,
snapshots, like being able to take pictures and be able to like actually crop on the screen as you're taking the screenshots has completely
exactly.
eliminated any use for MS Paint for me. Like that's what I used to do. I used to like go in there and
Me
I would
too.
censor out parts of my screen if I was sharing my screen, or like, I'd remove parts of it. I would show just like the document or something that I'm sharing. Like now I can just automatically do that. Like as I'm doing the Windows Snap, the Windows Snip tool, which by the
Yeah,
way
no,
is
and
Shift S, and you can just it'll open up the Shift tool to be able to take a screenshot of the desktop, or you can do any window individually. It's really nice.
yeah, dude, that's super cool. I remember it's like now that you remind me, I used to use Microsoft Paint for that as well, basically just to edit and crop my screenshots. But now
Yeah, because you
they've
press the
upgraded
print
print
screen button
school,
on your computer and
print
you just
screen, excuse me.
Control V and paint.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude, that was that was a very, very nostalgic feeling. So yeah, I'm definitely glad that like all of the like bare bones, super simple parts of Windows are now being revamped
Yeah.
into other sections that are more useful, I guess. So yeah, fuck WordPad, fuck Paint. Let's move on and go to the new Microsoft. That's how I feel.
Yeah, let's see what they got in store for the next round. One of the things actually that's really exciting for Microsoft is with the release of Windows 10, I believe, they natively support 3D objects. Um, so this is actually something that's been really interesting to me, is that with a 3D model that you make
Right,
for a 3D printer, right?
right.
Windows can natively view that, like in their 3D viewer software. It's free with
Yes,
every
I
single
saw that.
Windows device, and you can literally open
That's so
up
cool.
game file, object files like from video games, and like see texture packs and like all that kind of stuff. Like you can just open it in Windows now. It's just natively supported, and
Right.
I love it, man. Like that's such a leap forward for me, for all that kind of just that little tiny integration stuff, like being able to view a
Yeah.
3D file, and like you can get a preview of it in Explorer. Like you can't move that file around like in the preview, but like once you open it up, like you can move it around and look at it. And it's actually crazy because let's see, 3D viewer here. Um, yeah, 3D viewer. It has like lighting and textures that you can apply to objects and
Hell
stuff.
yeah.
It's just wild. I love it. There's so many things under the hood in Microsoft that like you have to know about it to get it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because like during COVID, I finally sat there and I started to play with all the things in Windows 10 that were essentially pre-installed with the OS, but that I had never just experienced. And you start to realize that, yeah, from Windows 8 to Windows 10, they actually gave us a lot of cool stuff. And one of those things is 3D Viewer. I didn't really have that many file types that I was familiar with to be able to fully use it, but just the fact that we went from like Paint to 3D Paint and then to 3D Viewer in one OS was fucking awesome. So who knows what they'll put in Windows 12, hopefully. And
So
and
this is actually crazy. I just opened this up, right? The first thing that you
mhm,
can open up is an animation now. It's a 3D
cool.
animation of a
Hell
hornet
yeah.
or a wasp, right?
Oh
Like
yeah,
you can
yeah. I
you
remember
can
that.
change the textures of it. You can change the
Exactly.
lightings. Oh, dude,
Speed
this is
also.
absolutely incredible. You can zoom in,
Yeah.
look at the different details and like the texture mapping for it.
Which is
That's a,
super cool because like it gets me interested in like sort of wanting to design 3D objects or a 3D landscapes or a 3D maps and just things like that. Like I feel like just playing around with that little Hornet file, like it seems cool. I don't
oh
have
yeah.
any experience in that stuff, but it makes me want to try it. Like
Yeah, so
seriously.
this isn't really on our topic list. Well, I guess it kind of is. Apple's
Yeah.
announcing the new Wonderlust. Do we think that we're going to see anything for the new Apple headset here? Like, are we going to see more
Um,
integrations into the iPhone for this kind of stuff? Because like, I still don't see iPhone natively supporting 3D files like this, or this mixed reality kind of thing. That's just like like I opened up 3D Viewer, looked at that B thing, and there's actually a little button that you can hit that says mixed reality. And then once you do that,
Exactly.
it opens up the webcam and like it puts that 3D object on your webcam. Like what?
Right. Exactly. And that was just sitting there in Windows the entire time. And like I feel like nobody talked about that shit. Like I didn't know that was there until like COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is insane. And it's interesting how long Microsoft, excuse me, it's interesting how long Microsoft has been sort of working on this whole mixed reality HoloLens type architecture, because again, it was right there in Windows 10 the entire time. And I think Windows 10 came out in 2015. So it does seem like Microsoft, at least publicly, is a little bit more advanced when it comes to VR and MR and things like that, especially with the Xbox. But I guess we can move on now to the Apple event. I know Apple always releases their new okay, I'm gonna repeat that. So I know Apple always releases their new iOS, iPad OS, and Watch OS in September usually. So this is their big event of the year. I think this is one of the few events where they had multiple products announced at different times of the year. Usually the MacBook, I think, is earlier on in June, but we haven't really seen that many refreshes of the MacBook.
Yeah, I
But
thought we
I do
saw a
know
new Air come out.
what's up.
I thought we saw a new Air come out.
I think that was a couple of years ago. Oh wait, no, but
No,
they
because it
did
said M2
refresh
chip
the
drop.
MacBook Pros. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. You are correct. They have announced that earlier on. You're right. But I do know later on in the fall is when they usually announce all of their mobile stuff. So I know
Yeah.
the iPhone 15 is supposed to be announced. I do know sales for smartphones in general have been declining lately because smartphones really haven't really been that different year to year, unless we're talking about like a Galaxy Fold or the Razr Flip or stuff like that. But I know for Apple, their iPhones have looked the same and they functioned the same for the past couple of years. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I do feel that there's some pretty significant stagnation in the market. I mean, the largest kind of new trend that we're seeing right now is the foldables. They're definitely picking up, but there's something missing, right? Like,
yeah,
there's just something missing, and it's hard to put your finger on what it actually is. We kind of know what it is. It's ARM processors.
I think it's bigger
ARM
phones.
processors
Oh
just
yeah,
aren't capable of doing what desktops are capable of doing.
right.
As much as we want to try, like it's really, really hard to one, do the emulation, right, and then two, to do emulation local on the device. And like it's trying to emulate for like a phone, trying to emulate a computer, right? You're trying to emulate like up a level, which is even harder than it sounds, because it's like it's like humans trying to act like a giant robot or something, right? Like the phone's acting beyond its capabilities, and it's just so much easier to see the flaws in it. For me, like I think you're on the other side of this, right? Like you want iPhone to stay with a Lightning port instead of USB-C, correct?
Yeah, I was very pro Apple when it came to their port design. I do know the Lightning cable came out before USB-C, and I like Apple being able to do their own thing and not necessarily being forced into following the standards of other tech companies. I do think that when you start getting into tech companies and you start making them choose certain ways that they're not familiar with, and at that point you start to open the door of being able to like make decisions for them. And I could be talking from an extremist perspective here, and I realize that's how it could possibly sound, but I just think that we should have a basically like a closed off system with Apple, as well as having open systems through Google and Microsoft. I think that the competition between those two ideologies and business models just makes tech so much better. Like I know like when the iPhone first came out, Windows Phone thrived off that. Android thrived off the iPhone coming out. That's essentially why it became a thing. So I just don't want Apple to be forced into doing things that other companies are doing so that we don't lose that, I guess we don't lose their creative out. I don't know how to say it, but that Apple thing about them. That's all. But hey, I lost. So USB-C will be their
No,
new
I mean,
format or new port. Excuse me.
I can completely get on board with that sentiment, but I think there still has to be some boundaries, right? Like,
Right.
Apple can't have their own wireless Wi-Fi technology,
You're
right?
right.
Like, they can't just you can't just have an iPhone with an i router that connects to your iModem, right? That your Android phone that can no longer connect to your iModem because it's locked in software, and like that type of closed garden ecosystem, I feel, is more harmful to the industry overall than it is beneficial, right?
But
Um,
shouldn't those families or those, and I don't mean to say it from like our perspective because we have something else we're talking about later on when it comes to families. I don't want to cut my own throat here, but like shouldn't people have the option to at least have that availability? Like, why should we? I think that if people want to have their own Wi-Fi network through Apple and they want to secure everything through them, then they should have that choice. Because some people they don't. I don't know. I feel like some people like the fact that tech companies make the decisions for them. Like they're not me or you. They don't have the tech savvy knowledge. So like people who aren't familiar with it sometimes just want to be. They want the decisions to be made for them.
I mean,
Does that make
this all
sense?
comes down to like the printer paradox, right? Like the printer is probably one of the most simplest pieces of technology. It's been around since the advent of computers, but how fucking complicated is it to get it on a network and like printing from your devices? Like how absurdly impossible has that been to deal with? And like we have we have systems built in now from Apple that allow us to do like AirPrint, right?
Yeah, right.
But it's still finicky, right? And Apple's just going to use this to sell you a printer at some point. That's this is the AirPrint. It'll always print from your iPhone and your MacBook, and hey, you can even print from your Apple TV. But you know, good luck printing with anything else. Oh yeah, and ink's really expensive, by the way. And like, I mean, that just kind of goes
That
into the
works for
whole
them though,
HP
and it also
system, right?
works for their
Because like,
customers. I'm sorry.
well, HP has that same type of vertical integration, right? And like, it's just a
Right.
trash fire of trying to pay like $50 for a cartridge of ink that lasts for like 10 prints that you do over the course of a year, right? And it's like
Right.
that's absurd. It's totally off topic, but I bought an Epson Eco Tank, the ones that have like the little cartridges that you just like dump into the printer. And like
Yeah.
they got all this kind of proprietary tech, like magnets and like keyed entry nozzles and all this kind of stuff. But you know what? That printer has not needed ink in a year, and we print from it constantly, like multiple times
Hell
a day.
yeah.
And like it's kind of up on par with having a laser printer with how little we actually have to spend on ink at any given time. Like I swear I've bought in like 2 cartridges over the last 2 years that we've had this printer, and I still have one of those sets of cartridges here. And it's just like they're not even cartridges; they're just refilled like tubes that you just stick into your printer and like let it drain. And like it's just
Yes, and that's it.
astonishing to me that we're still like that HP is still nickel and diming over cartridges that just end up in a landfill and like
Yeah,
completely wasted.
exactly. It's funny because during COVID, I actually bought an HP printer, and I think because of it, like I think they gave me like 1 month of free ink, and I was surprised by it. But I was printing like a motherfucker. But yeah, no.
Yeah,
But
and then you
I
had
do
to
want to go
sign
back
up for
over
an
to
account to be able to use it, right? And it had to
yeah,
connect to
you
the
did. You had
network.
to
Yeah,
sign up
I mean,
for
but
an
those don't even
account,
about. It's
but
a
they would
printer.
ship
It
you the
makes
ink though. That was kind of
Like, what is that? It literally takes information and puts it on a piece of paper for you. Like, it's not that complicated. It doesn't need internet connection. And like, this is where we have to fear from Apple, right? Like, Apple kind of gets a reality check every once in a while. Like, oh hey,
yeah,
maybe we should use a universal standard for charging devices.
Yeah.
Like, maybe this device connector is like kind of cool and it works and it's MagSafe and like, but you know what? Everybody else is using USB-C. And like for my wife, she has 3 iPhones and she's always constantly charging them, but she can never take advantage of any of the fast charging that we have in this house. Like, I have 60-watt chargers that can charge my laptop and my phone at the same time to full battery in like an hour, and like she can't do that. But all the batteries used for her iPhones, I can charge with my USB-C cables, and it's super fast. But Apple didn't create the standard, so they're not going to use it. So even if we do get USB-C, we're not going to get USB-C super speed and high speed. And like, if you want to transfer your photos, you need to do it to iCloud, because God's going to take forever to transfer it to your laptop through a USB-C cable. Despite the phone being very capable of high-speed data transfer.
Yeah,
and that's my rant about
Wonderlust.
The gardens only get taller; they don't get shorter.
Yeah, no, and that's completely understandable. I do know, because of companies like OnePlus, like USB-C charging has advanced past the Lightning port, and I think some OnePlus phones you can charge to like 80% in like 10 or 15 minutes, which is insane that they have that sort of technology. I know it's insane that they have that stuff, and I do know Apple is a little bit behind on that. I do know that their iPad Pros and a couple of other products they have already use USB-C, so it is interesting. Yeah,
Dan's got a MacBook.
Exactly.
He used my USB-C high-speed chargers to charge his MacBook, but that's probably not going to be available on my phone. We'll see. I mean, I'm hoping, but I doubt it. They have the technology.
Oh, well, they definitely have it, but they definitely like to wait for their customers to actually want it before they implement. Like, Apple isn't going to waste the chance to make money, so they aren't going to give their customers something too early in advance, and then like they don't actually make the money off of it until like 2 or 3 years later. They're going to wait until they can sell as much of the previous generation product as long as they can, so that they don't have to implement all of that new engineering and whatever the fuck. But they definitely want to get as much money as possible. So I guess iPhone users just haven't demanded high-speed charging yet, which is weird. But I guess if they don't know about it, they don't want it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Obviously, it doesn't impact their lives. I mean, for a lot of Apple products, battery life is king, right? Like, comparing a MacBook to a Surface, it's night and day. Like, the MacBook's going to win all day, every day in battery life. iPhones are the same way. They're going to last for a long time. So it's, it's not as necessary that we need to charge phones, but it's also kind of interesting too, because people do stuff on Android phones that iPhones are just not capable of, like being able to run a desktop mode and like play video games. Come on, like, you can actually play high-end video games on Android.
Yeah, you can.
And you need to have fast charging for it. Like, there's games I play on my phone that if I'm not plugged in, like, my battery's gonna drain in an hour.
I do want to ask about this iPhone. So, like, to me, the iPhones really haven't been that interesting since the iPhone 10 and the 10s. So it's like that happened, 5 or 6 years ago, I believe. And like, I feel like now is the time for them to reinvent not only the iPhone, but iOS, because to me, like, their products they haven't really redone anything in a long time. And I know their focus is on the Vision Pro right now.
I saw a video on this recently. It's actually by Marcus Brown. Did you see his new video on Android versus iPhone?
I'm sorry, can you ask that again? I didn't quite hear you.
So I think it was a video by Marcus Brownlee.
Nice.
Mispronounce his name, but it's iPhone versus Android.
I know, me too. I always want to say Brownie instead of Brownlee, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. Yeah, I always pronounce his name wrong. Yeah, but I actually didn't see that.
I highly recommend that you and everybody else check it out because it's actually a pretty great video, and he goes down and it breaks it down quite a bit, and very simplistically too. Like, it's it's not about the raw power specs or USB-C or FaceTime. It's a little bit about FaceTime and iMessage, but one of the points that he brought up about iPhone is just how far behind in customization. Right. So, like, if you want an iPhone, if you want to put an app on your iPhone, that app icon has to go in the last position, right? If you want to move it, you can move it, but it still needs to say like align to the top and not align to the left. You're not allowed to like say put icons at the top and the bottom of the screen. Like, that's just you're not allowed to, right? It's not that the device is not capable of doing it, maybe from a software perspective, but it's just that the Apple designers don't think that it's necessary for you to be able to do that.
Right.
And I'll tell you, trying to find anything on my wife's iPhones is like a nightmare.
Yeah, because it's like
organize an iPhone, but like the way that you can organize an Android is just leap and bounds beyond that, right? And like
it's pretty much infinite,
that. Like, every single developer is doing something different with their organization method, and like that's a problem in and of itself, and it's a really complicated problem. Like, I don't know.
No, I know with Android, like, you can literally download a new launcher and do whatever you want with your phone. You can make your phone look like a Windows computer. Like, there's endless amount of launchers out there.
My God.
Well, I definitely think that they need to do something soon because I don't see the iPhone being that interesting. I know they're about to do the USB-C thing. I think that's going to be the new big thing, and I know they're going to upgrade the camera, do all that fun stuff. But like, and I do also know that they're going to change the notch on the non-pro versions or the non-ultra versions. I forgot what it's called. I'm fucking tired. But I do know, I think in the iPhone 14 Pro Max, that's what it's called. There's like, the dynamic island. And once you see it in person, it actually looks pretty fucking cool. And I think they even put it on the 16-inch Mac Pro also. So to me, like, the whole notch / the dynamic island, the whole pill shape thing actually does look cool, and it actually has functionality. It, like, I guess it syncs up with notifications or certain options and features in the apps, and it shows you a little animation, excuse me. It shows you like a animated like graphic, and it syncs up with everything. Yeah. It's pretty cool though. But I do think it would be nice for them to bring it to the other iPhones, and they're about to, but that's not really a reason to like make a new iPhone. So I think they need to make a larger one. I want to see more phones.
You want a larger iPhone?
No, I was gonna say this isn't just for iPhones. I think cell phones should be larger than 6.9 inches. It seems like the largest cell phone out there is the Samsung Note 20, and its screen size is 6.9. No, I want one bigger, bro. I want one that's like 7.5 inches. Seriously,
just buy a tablet. Just buy a tablet.
That's the thing, though. They don't make high-end 7-inch tablets. High-end 7-inch tablets are only the only 7-inch Android tablets they have. They're all like $50 to $100. None of them have more than 3 gigs of RAM. None of them have a good processor. So, like, the last time I held a 7-inch tablet, it felt awesome. And I feel like if phones were bigger, they would act more like their desktop counterpart. And I think that I think that operating systems are becoming too complex.
I would rather just have like a little flip phone and like a really nice device, right? Like, but that's the point. Like, I don't necessarily want to have a device that I'm using all the time to be my right? Like, I hate getting calls while I'm playing games on it or watching YouTube videos. I'd rather just get a call on my burner phone and ignore that like I do.
I was thinking about splitting up my phones also, and just having a phone just for messaging and just for calling and just for like social media chat, and then only have those apps on that one phone, and probably something that's like a 6 inch, and then I would get another phone that's like almost 7 inches, and that one would have all of my like apps, all of my finance stuff, all of my business stuff, and all of my gaming. So I've also had the um the idea to split off my I guess different mobile personalities.
Yeah.
I guess you can say.
Yeah, that'd
So
be
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
there is a very good value in like separating devices for work and play.
yeah, definitely. And now that we're on mobile phones still, I do know that Google also announced an event. So it seems like, and I forgot this was happening, but Google has their event in October. Oh, it's on October 28th. It's right here in our notes. So when you asked me
Oh,
earlier,
imagine
I
that.
completely
Somebody wrote
forgot that it
notes.
was. I know, right? No. So it's definitely October 28th, and that's where we're supposed to see the Pixel 8 and Android 14 finally debuted. Excuse me. So yeah, we're getting another Android. How about it?
All right, so in the knockout brawl, who would win, the iPhone 15 or the Pixel 8 Pro?
Oh man, I'm gonna go with the Pixel 8 Pro, to be honest. I do like Android significantly better than iOS. Dude, I change my launcher on my phone at least once a week. And if I just, like you were saying previously, losing that customization would make someone like me go crazy because I lose
That was
interest in,
actually
in
one
my
of the
phone.
things about
If,
the Marcus Brownlee video is he was like,
yeah,
he scored the iPhone to be better, and then you're just like, well, you know what? This is not how it actually works. Like, I don't like, I need an Android for some things, and
yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean,
I do
it's really
think
interesting. I understand that the Pixel line is actually fairly popular. They're gonna split it up. It
it
looks
is
like
now, yes.
three different models. So they got the Pixel 8, the Pixel 8 Pro, and then the Pixel 8a.
Right.
And this is actually in addition to the Pixel Fold that they just released a couple months ago.
Exactly. We're
So
getting,
they've got about four of them now. And these are going to be powered by their
and they have
10th
the Pixel
chip,
tablet also.
the
Sorry.
A16 Bionic chip in the iPhone 15. So technically, these phones are going to be fairly similar. Image quality,
Yes.
everything. It's just the real difference here is going to be software. The software.
Well, for Google's Pixel line, they usually have more features than some of the other Android phones.
Yeah.
I
Well,
do
I mean,
know
it's
there's a couple of
comparative, right?
apps
So
in the
compared with the
Androids.
Samsung, like Samsung's going to have certain features on it that the Pixels don't have. Like one of the Samsung features that I
Exactly. No, for
absolutely love
sure.
was being able to literally, like, I got a new phone, I plugged them together with a USB-C cable. Imagine that! Like, oh my God, they have the same interface. And like, it prompted me. The screen on my old one was broken. My new one was just like, hey, do you want to take all the data off this old phone and put it on this new phone? It's like,
Hmm.
yeah, I want to do that. And like,
I know,
it was like
right?
my phone literally just like moved to the other phone, and like it was completely the same that it was before.
Hell yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
something that's
Wait,
available through
so
Samsung, the Galaxy apps.
which phone did you switch from?
It was a parallel. So the screen broke on my Note 20, and I
Oh,
just.
gotcha. I thought you were saying you upgraded from like one of the older notes to the Note 20 and you were explaining the differences in the UI. So what Android version do you have on your Note 20? Because last I heard, I think Samsung was offering Android 13 on the Note 20, but they weren't offering them on the Note 10s. So I think you still got Android 13, didn't you?
I am pulling up my information about the phone.
Yeah, no, it's funny, but yet Samsung has their like one UI software over everything. Dude, Samsung phones have a crazy amount of features, dude, compared to other Android phones. It's
Mhm.
insane. It's insane. But
Uh,
yeah, I do know Android 14 is supposed to be announced. So yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
no, I'm just going through my phone trying to find my Android setting, my thing. But
Cool.
I don't know. I'll let you keep talking.
Dude, good luck. Good luck, dude, because Samsung has a shitload of fucking options in their settings app. I think it's about, but that's I think they changed it.
Well, yeah, it's about phone and the software information. So I got the One UI
cool.
version 5 and then Android version 13 right now.
Okay, good. Awesome. Yeah, so you have all the new cool stuff. And it's funny because I feel like Samsung customers get like double the features every time a new version of Android comes out because you get the Google stuff plus the Samsung stuff, and they're both actively working on it.
I got a video game overlay like in 13 or something. And like it's awesome. It's just like a little thing that I can slide out while I'm playing a video game, and I can open up like windows and stuff.
Hell yeah!
So
I was playing around with a Samsung tablet at Walmart, and I noticed that like directly on the tablet you can have freeform windows, which is super fucking cool. And that's actually offered on all Android phones, but you have to turn on developer settings. But most people don't. Most people wouldn't do that or know about that. So I do know Samsung, I think, has that as a stock option for you to be able to basically like put your apps in like a smaller window and then drag them around as if you're on the desktop, which is super fucking cool.
I've been able to do that for a long time.
Yeah, that's super cool. So yeah, I'm kind of interested in what Samsung is going to do for their next version of their One UI. I think if you have 5, they should be releasing 6 now, and I'm interested in seeing what Android 14 will offer. I will say that the Pixel line of smartphones was a little bit boring to me up until they released the Pixel 6 back in 2021. To me, that design of that phone on the outside looked fucking awesome. It was more a rectangle. It was sharper than the previous generations, and the colors they offered was fucking awesome. Also, the camera bump, excuse me, looked super professional and just looked super fucking, I don't know, it looked super cool. So
I still can't wrap my head around why the camera bump needs to exist. Oh, the phone needs to be slimmer, huh? Well, just make it the size of the bump. Millimeter doesn't.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm also thinking that like let's leave the camera bump behind and let's just put a bigger battery in the phones. Like fuck it.
Yeah. I don't know. This is probably specific to this Note that I have, but the Note has those curved edges on the screen. Absolutely, I love that. I hate them.
You hate those?
Yeah, because it's like, dude, if you drop your phone, guaranteed that it's gonna break because the glass is gonna be
that's true.
The ground. And like, if you have a case that like comes up and like wraps around that like rounded glass, then like defeats the purpose of even having it. Like to me, it's completely useless to have that side stuff. And like it's kind of weird when you watch videos, like the edge kind of curves, like the video curves around the edge too. I love the phone, but like there's just I don't like that.
Yeah. Do you ever use your S Pen?
Yes, I love the S Pen.
Oh, you do?
I love the Samsung Notes app, and I use it often.
Awesome. I used to have a Motorola Edge Plus back in 2020, and it's funny because on that phone, the edges on that screen went around 90 degrees. So it like wrapped around the sides of the phone completely. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I'm actually about to get the new Motorola Edge, the 2023 model. And I should be getting that in about 2 weeks. So I'm excited to have my edges back.
Awesome.
Yeah. Pretty exciting.
Well, hey, before we dive into this next topic, let's talk about business. How's that going?
Oh yeah, things have been going well. I know with Upwork, we still have to like change the account over to be able to handle multiple freelancers. I know that we described this in an earlier episode, but I can go ahead and explain it again. Essentially, what we are going to do for Vertical Bar Media is we're going to use Upwork to basically try to make our project/business profitable, just to get some money.
Yeah, so the
money
concept
flowing.
here is
There we go.
agency, right? Like agency work. As opposed to simply just doing freelance, we can combine our skills together. Where you do writing, I do production, video, and Dan does editing, and all that kind of stuff. We bring it all together, and we're able to offer more than we could just alone on our own.
Hell yeah. So I do also want to note that because you asked how business was going, we got a couple of messages this week on Facebook with people trying to work for us and basically promote our company for us. But like, I think they were all like, I don't know, it's weird because they all gave price ranges of like how much we have to pay them to get so many likes and so many follows and so much activity on our social media accounts. But when I would check out their profiles, they would only have like 20 or 40 followers. And it's like, we're already doing better than that. So like, why would we pay someone who doesn't even have more followers than we do?
Yeah, true.
Which is insane.
I mean, there are a lot of valid like bot farms that you can. They're not even bots; they're humans. It's just like with 100 phones in front of them, like going through all the likes and stuff.
That's insane, dude. That would be an insane job to do by yourself. Logging on to each phone. How would you even get all those? That's insane, dude.
Oh, it's a whole entire industry. Mostly in India. I've seen different things in China and like Indonesia, but for like global YouTube views, India is probably the number one. India and Russia.
India, Russia, cool. I do want to say randomly that on Twitter we have over 200 followers. We're at 231 now, so that's where we're doing the best. I know it's called X now, but
it's always
that's where we're doing the best, dude. I think on LinkedIn we're over 90 followers right now, and on Facebook we're still between 60 and 70. That was a little bit of a slow week, but on Threads we're at almost 80 followers. So wow. I think combined, I think we're looking at over 300 to 400. I think we're at about 500 now total. So that's pretty good for us.
Awesome. Yeah. We
just started this.
69 subscribers on our YouTube channel, and we
Hell
just broke 1,000 views on one of our videos.
That was the homeworld video for what the was that the ore video?
Yeah, the ore mining. Yep.
Hell yeah, dude. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I was actually gonna pull up the analytics here. I think we're at 2,500 views for the month.
Dude, so I was looking at the Vertical Bar Media YouTube page, and I'm sorry.
2,600. 2,600
Hell yeah,
views per month. 157 watch hours and 41 new subscribers this month.
Hell yeah. This is really just our first month promoting, so it seems like already we have over 500 followers / subscribers / likes total, and this is all manual work. Nothing has been automated, nothing has been purchased, so I'm excited to see where things go from here. I was looking on the YouTube channel and I saw a video that you had uploaded. I think it was like last year or something, where you were installing a new graphics card, and that has over 3,900 views, dude.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah, so
that's crazy.
That actually came from one of those bot farms because I was trying it out to see what it cool. Did. Like when I first started working with Upwork, and like, dude, that's gold. So like whenever we get to a point where we have a steady back catalog, you can definitely purchase some views and some subscribers.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's strange because like you want to organically grow, right? And you want to, but you also have to kind of compete with people that are going to do that kind of thing, right? They're gonna
the same thing exactly, right?
Yeah. So we have to kind of figure out where a balance is and how much do we want to kind of engage it, because it works the same. It literally works the exact same way as if we were to take out advertising on Facebook, right? We pay for advertising on Facebook, we get impressions, we get clicks, and like hopefully we get followers from that, right?
Right.
Well, the same thing works as if we pay people to do that for us, and then like that kind of inflates our numbers a little bit.
Right.
But an inflation of numbers also means that our content is seen by more people and it's shared often. So it produces the same effect as us paying for advertising,
right?
But just in a different form. And like personally, I don't like advertising. I would rather the algorithmic searching kind of stuff working, like with like the pop-ups and all that kind of stuff. Like,
right.
I kind of hate Facebook sometimes because like the amount of advertising on it's just absolutely wild, and it's just not relevant, right? Like they have cool videos like sometimes of just like building things and whatnot, but I don't know. I find that a lot of like the paid content is like generally the same exact thing, right? It's like, let's look at these 30 movie facts from back in this movie or something. It's like, I saw that article like 13 times. It was generated by AI and it's just filled to the brim with ads. It's like two sentences, an image, and an ad, and then 2 sentences, an image, and an ad, and it's like 30.
And like,
that's annoying as fuck. Like, oh, you have to click to the next page, and it's like, that's a whole nother scam in of itself of like them essentially doing page refreshes by us like having to read 3 words and then click next on the page. And it's like, like, how do you actually engage with that? Like those
I can't do anything with that at all.
Like, if you put, like if you go to Google and you search AMD processor, right? Like you'll get an article that's like the top 10 processors for 2023 or whatever. That website is like you pay to put your name on that list. Like all of those are literally paid spots. There's no such thing as like a real article out there anymore on that kind of stuff. It is all fake.
That's insane. All right, yeah. So it's definitely interesting, like getting into social media marketing and getting into advertising, because like if you don't participate in some of these activities for like purchasing likes, boosting your follows, boosting your subscribers, and things like that, like you said earlier, you will get left behind. So like if you don't do it, your stuff isn't going to get shared. So it might be looked down upon by some people, but this is a part of social media marketing. So you just got to get it done. Hello?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. 100%.
Okay, good. Awesome. Fuck yeah. Yeah, so I'm glad everything is going well on social media. I think we're killing it. We're still very up and coming. It's only been a month really since we started doing this kind of marketing or this kind of advertising. I do know that, hey, on LinkedIn, we got $300 that we can spend on an ad. So that's awesome. We should definitely talk about that sometime this week. So yay, LinkedIn.
Awesome, man. I do like LinkedIn's content. I really do just enjoy how it's like a little bit more professionally curated.
It is, yes.
Yeah. It's interesting. I do want to find out another way to engage with it because there are a lot of useful like articles on there, and there's just a lot of useful like new tech news kind of stuff too. So I'd love to.
Yeah, there is
a little bit more.
Yeah, same here. All right, so that's how we're doing as a business. Things are going up. We should definitely have some product reviews coming up soon. I know I'm getting a new phone. I'm getting a new laptop. It's going to be a Moto Edge. Plus, for my phone and my laptop should be a Lenovo 17-inch IdeaPad something. I forgot what it is. So we'll definitely have some product reviews coming up and some software reviews as well going forward. And also, I think Jared's going to get into his aviation training guides / tips and tricks and stuff like that. So we do have some upcoming products that are coming out that will make the channels and the pages more exciting and more engaging. Excuse me.
Yeah, and I'm excited. We've been working on a very diverse portfolio of content here from the start. see, we've got different types of learning videos, educational videos.
Oh, yeah.
We've got the podcast, homeworld mobile videos, all that kind of stuff. So
There we go.
it's definitely going to be great to explore as much as we can.
All right, let's get back over to these topics. So I guess what's going on with topic number 4? Are we talking about McDonald's or Pornhub? Which one?
I mean, this kind of, well, not really. I guess it doesn't really. It's not the same, but we can just kind of briefly go over the Pornhub issue. So it's kind of strange, right? Because we do want to be able to protect minors and protect children, but we also have to have this kind of freedom of speech, right? We have to be able to not, and it's a very difficult topic to talk about because a lot of people think that the freedom of speech is the right to be heard, but is the right to be speak, but that's not true. The First Amendment is the right to be heard, right? It's not just the right to speak or to speak what you want to speak. It's the right that other people are able to hear something that's not curated for them. That's not, whatever. And it's such a strange place because, I mean, who can you trust in this kind of scenario? Like, can you really trust the $1 billion porn conglomerate that has history of exploiting workers and exploiting minorities, or can you trust the government? Which, I mean, what truth have they ever told us? And like, now you're supposed to trust them with your information, and then this kind of history and the stigmata that comes along with it. And like, we see this stuff that's happening in the courts all across the land. It's wild. And I don't have a lot to say for it, but man, like, Texas.
Let me get this straight. I want to ask you a question. So basically, what would happen if Pornhub had to, I guess, install some of these age identification verification methods? They would basically have access to what, like, people's ID numbers and all of their information. Basically, they'd have access to your ID, right?
Well, that's the thing that Pornhub doesn't want, right? They don't
want
that, right?
They don't want to have all your shit.
They want the government. They want Texas to deal with it, right? Like, hey, you don't want your users here in Texas accessing this website. You figure it out. Like, that's not because that, at the end of the day, they're the ones that are distributing content. They're not trying to limit who sees their content. And I mean, there has to be a certain level of limitation, right? Like, we can't let minors see this stuff. But at the same time, like, that's not their job. Like,
porn sites have had that little thing on their websites this entire time, and it's that little thing that you verify your age, and that's it. So it's like, it's interesting.
I can't remember my age, so like. And Pornhub is, the parent company is completely right that the only way to actually do this legitimately is device level verification, right? Like, your phone should be able to see your ID and then tell you whether or not you can access this kind of thing, which still is, it's still too much in my opinion. Like, I don't know.
Digital IDs.
Think of the children. Like, well, how about you just, not let them go to porn websites?
Of course. There's always that thing of the children mindset. Yeah, so I completely understand. Yeah, this is an interesting issue. It seems like they're trying to do whatever they can to make sure that Pornhub, I guess, sort of goes through a lot of interesting things going forward. So, let's move on to the 5th topic. Let's talk about this McDonald's ice cream. I'll let you present it since it's your topic.
Okay, so this is actually put out by iFixit, which is a very popular website that sells parts and tools to be able to repair your own devices. Because, hey, you bought a $1,000 phone, like, hey, maybe you should be able to, change the battery in it or replace the broken port because of poor QA. That should be allowed. And this movement that that encompasses all of this is considered the right to repair. One of the largest factors in this conversation up to this point has been the John Deere tractors. Essentially, John Deere was making software-locked tractors that required you to take it to a John Deere factory, a John Deere authorized repair shop. Which one was expensive, two was not very it just wasn't timely. Like you couldn't make an appointment that day and like have your vehicle back by the end of the day.
They have software in tractors now? Good God.
Oh, dude,
I had no idea.
Tractors and excavators and stuff have like highly enabled GPS systems that like they can literally autopilot themselves. Like combine tractors and you can set up like whole fleets of them, and like whole entire fleets can be operating from like one vehicle, and like I just have a bunch
That's fucking awesome.
Like it's legit.
I'm gonna have to go into farming
stuff. And it's insane because they're essentially John Deere essentially created this walled garden and outrageously charging high repair costs for simple things. And like, hey, let's say your device breaks, right? You lose GPS access on your $300,000 tractor. But hey, the tractor still works. Well, guess what? If it's a John Deere, it doesn't actually. And like you just can't turn it on. Like you can't use it to produce the money to like pay the bills.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy.
And so like that kind of goes into this whole thing for the right to repair, and this is stemmed from what this new thing for McDonald's has stemmed from is like the ice cream machines are always broken. Well, it turns out that the company that manufactures them manufactures every single ice cream machine used by McDonald's in existence.
This is awesome.
Name is Taylor. You should know that Taylor has specifically patented and limited McDonald's choices in these ice cream machines, and they've gone through extra steps to make it nearly impossible to repair. And this story just gets more wild, right? So 25% of Taylor's annual revenue is from repairing these machines. 25%.
How much? You said 25%?
A quarter of their annual revenue is spent repairing machines, right? And that's not even the repairing the machines that they manufacture. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that it's like $365 for 15 minutes. So like over $1,200 for a technician to come out to a McDonald's and fix one of these machines. And it's only because it's software locked. There is absolutely no reason that these parts cannot be easily replaced. They can be easily replaced. They can be easily maintained. They can be done on site by all kinds of third-party solutions. But Taylor has effectively created a monopoly on these unrepairable machines. And like the company has such a poor track record of the maintenance of these machines too, that like calls literally just go unanswered by franchisees.
Which is effed up because that's losing McDonald's money.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. But somebody in McDonald's is making money from all this. And it's not the franchisees, and that's honestly just how it always goes, and it just sucks. So major props to iFixit for actually purchasing one of these machines, taking it apart, documenting the entire process, and showing the world how easy these are to repair. And hopefully this is going to go into some litigation here. I would love to see that whole entire industry just completely destroyed. A planned obsolescence is literally the worst thing in the world right now.
No, wait. So it seems like there's a company that's involved in, I guess, getting some of these machine types added to a certain list that makes them available to repair without breaking the law. Who is that?
You're talking about iFixit?
Oh, okay. So they're the ones actually doing this. They're the ones actually trying to get
so
legislation passed to.
You can go there and like, let's say your Motorola whatever broke. You can go. You can look up guides on how to maybe repair it, maybe where to purchase parts to to fix it, the tools necessary to do so, everything like that. And they have tons and tons of video tutorials and walkthroughs on all kinds of processes for fixing computers, laptops, anything with a screen or a battery, essentially. It's a huge organization, and they've been working with like Louis Rossman. I don't know if you've seen his channel that does MacBook repair.
I probably have, but the name doesn't sound familiar, so I could just be fucking tired, or I could just be a dumbass. So, but yeah. Go on.
So I mean, they're working with consumers to try to find solutions on how we can actually access our devices and keep them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because this is seriously going off the deep end. Like Ford and Chevy are now removing Android Auto and CarPlay from their cars to put in their own ecosystems, right? And then it kind of shifts into this whole Tesla thing where like Tesla is installing heaters in every single one of their car, like seat heaters. But if you don't pay a subscription, you can't use it. So regardless of whether or not you paid and bought the car from them, you just didn't pay them enough to get the heated seats. They're in the car, but you just can't use them.
And like, I didn't know about that Tesla thing. This is the
whole thing that comes up from this topic discussion that we had with Apple. This walled garden. The walled garden only gets higher, right? Tesla, if you want to use heated seats in your car, you got to pay the monthly subscription. Ford, hey, we're not going to accept Android Auto or CarPlay in our car anymore. You need to use a cellular service for $19.95 a month to be able to
that's crazy.
The heated steering wheel.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah,
the garden keeps on getting higher and higher.
I did hear about some of the automakers starting to reject the whole Apple and Google a car's software / operating systems, but I just don't know what the other alternative would be. I mean, these things hook up to people's phones, so like, are they going to invent an operating system for people's phones to connect? Like, I just don't know how I don't know how something could sync up more perfectly than your fucking phone and the operating system in your car.
They don't want
your phone. But that's stupid. But to me, that's dumb. I don't know why you would put that responsibility on your customer and make them do more work.
Well, I will play devil's advocate here. There's no reason that you need to see your text messages, your emails, your Twitter feed, or anything else show up on your car while you're driving.
Well, yeah, but you also have people that are people who are in the passenger seat who could be assistants. Like, they could possibly read your stuff for you or do something, or not even that.
No, you don't. You don't need that while driving a car. You're driving a 4,000-ton vehicle that literally kills people for fun.
Well, yeah, I know, but I don't think
there's no reason that you.
I don't think they've seen numbers go up in the amount of deaths on the road just because a CarPlay and Android Auto have been installed. I don't necessarily think that's
because numbers have already been going up because of distracted driving. Like, you don't need Apple CarPlay and Android to see that people using cell phones run red lights.
No, and I completely understand, but it's like there are apps that I'm guessing that are already verified through Apple and Google that are more likely.
You don't need it. I'm just playing the devil's advocate.
Why not? But there could be other apps that come along later on. But okay, so it's not just text messaging apps. There's other apps in your phone that are available through Android Auto and Apple CarPlay that aren't related to being distractions. I mean,
yeah, Spotify.
They're the ones that get the. They're the companies that already have access, security, and relationships to all of these software developers and all of these app developers and all of these tech companies. So it's like when you move them out of the equation, now you're going to have a bunch of fucking bullshit that's overly complicated that people don't understand. People already understand the UI for Apple and Google.
I think Ford entering the market is just going to be like a new Samsung device, right? Like, that's what the car is going to be.
Yeah, but Samsung has been out for a really long time. Like, Samsung has been making they've been making smartphones since like since the Gal it's been what, like 12, 13 years now that they've been making smartphones. So it's like I think this is a little different. I think you're at a point now when Samsung started making smartphones versus Microsoft, Google, and Apple at the time, you had a very limited smartphone market. So things were just starting at that time. But now, when you're talking about, I think you said Jeep and Ford, who are all of a sudden now wanting to make their own operating systems, it's like CarPlay and Android Auto is it's already widespread. And then you also have the people who, for the last 15 years, have already been using iOS and Android. So it's like, what the fuck are these people who are used to these user interfaces, who don't like to learn technology, who don't like to try new things? Now all of a sudden they're gonna have to get used to another operating system. I mean, I don't think that's
I'll tell you this. Those companies don't care about them because they're not going to buy their products.
Well, yeah, I do think you're going to push out a lot of people who just want it to be synced up. I mean, I just don't. It just seems dumb that an automaker would think there's somehow a tech company and they can install operating systems. Like, you don't. That's not what they do.
Well,
you make cars.
Tesla was a tech company, and they're like, oh, well, let's make cars.
Well, yeah, but Tesla is a tech company.
Let's do the opposite.
But they already had that going on before CarPlay and Android Auto came out. Back then, you didn't even, when Tesla started doing that, you didn't even have these mobile operating systems acting as the way to, I guess, make your car function. So I think Tesla was a little ahead of the game. But I think after the new normal has already been set, and now that there's a new standard, it's weird to try to go in and change it. Like, Jeep will never be as popular as Apple. I don't know why they would ever try to be. That's stupid. I just don't understand that.
Hey, if Apple makes the car, we're gonna have to like turn it upside down to plug it in.
Yeah. I don't know, but maybe they'll succeed. I don't think they will, and I'm saying it right now. They're gonna go back to CarPlay and Android Auto. I mean, they're gonna try to do their own thing, but I don't think it's gonna be successful. And I do also think that a lot of companies do stuff like this and they announce all these new products that they know won't be successful just so they can get into headlines. And I don't know, maybe that's what they're doing. Who knows? But
I don't know.
We'll see.
I see having the phone connected to the car as an unnecessary distraction. I mean, being able to get like a phone call or something, but if you already have Waze installed on your car, like that makes sense. Like, why would I want to use my phone to? And like, it would be.
I just like things that are easy to use, especially for people that just don't know how to use technology. I think that just making it easier, unless now you have another piece of software on someone's mind who doesn't even care about software. Now they have to find out what this new name of this Jeep OS is, or this Ford OS, which I don't even know why the fuck those would ever be in the same sentence at all anyways. But like, it's just weird to me that you're putting another piece of software on people who don't know how to keep up with that stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'll be wrong, and maybe all of a sudden everybody will become a tech enthusiast. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
but
that's
hey,
one of the things, yeah.
All right, so hey, I think the sound is queuing up soon.
Well, that's all the time we have for today on the Vertical Podcast. As always, it's been a blast exploring technology with all of you.
Indeed it has, Jared. And remember, folks, if you want to learn more about the topics we discussed, check out the description with links to our social media channels and pages and profiles. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast for more tech adventures.
Absolutely, Marcus. We'd love to hear from you. Make sure to reach out with questions, ideas, or just to say hi. We're on all social media platforms with Vertical Bar Media.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and remember, the only constant in change. All right, I'm going to say it again. All right, sorry. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and remember, the only constant in technology is change.
Well, it only took 2 tries that time, so.